Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to be back. Good to be back. What is going on, everybody? Lenny End Zone in the building. We got ourselves a Monday mashup to talk about. We got a lot to talk about over here. Man, been a minute. It has been a minute. We already got some people hanging out. Big Play Slay already up in here. What's going on to you? Philly Sports Podcast. Robert, what is up, my man? Oh, what is up? Yeah, nothing much, nothing much. Listen, I know. For those that were hanging out before the weekend started, I dropped a little bit of a video. I had to let y'all know that I was not going to be around for the weekend. Just had to go up to Pennsylvania. My sister was having a baby shower. Had to be there for her and everything. Took a break from the tube, the YouTube here, but we are back. There was a lot going on over the weekend that I noticed. So, Jordy, what is going on? What is going on? And look, it's already starting here. What are your thoughts on the Ryan Kerrigan signing? Yes, yes, yes. Y'all are talking about Ryan Kerrigan. I seen that this morning. I was at work. I was on Twitter. Uh, said that longtime Washington football team member of 10 years, Ryan Kerrigan, is signing with Philly. Wow. But, we're going to get into it. So for those that don't know, hey, if you like the content, let me know in the comments how I'm doing. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's totally up to you, man. I'm not even asking for that sort of thing. I'm not going to do it. That's completely up to the viewer, how y'all take my channel, take my content, whatever. It is what it is, but I'm here doing my thing. I don't even got a jersey on related to any team that I love. I got a jersey collection. Got ourselves a Dwayne Wade today. Little throwback there. Miami Heat. I got a huge collection in my closet of jerseys, but nope. So yeah, we got to get into this Ryan Kerrigan thing. We got to get into it. And I don't know. Maybe I'll turn this into a call-in because I got to hear from the people. Maybe I'll turn it into a call-in. I'll think about it. Hear from y'all as well. But all right. So Ryan Kerrigan is 32. He is coming off a 2020 campaign to where he did feature in all 16 games, but he only started one. His snap percentage was only about 38%, which you have to figure for a guy in his age, it's a new regime on the defensive line for the Washington football team. They're trying to wean the veterans out. You insert the youth in, that sort of thing. His numbers dropped over the years, of course. And, when you're not a young buck anymore, you can't move the way you used to. Sorry about that. I was trying to choke down dinner before I started this stream. I was choking dinner down. Wife and I had some salmon and vegetables today. Good fish. But so I mean, now I glossed over some of his stats, and and it's funny. It's funny because the Eagles have listed Kerrigan as a defensive end. Now, for most of his career at Washington, he was either a left or a right outside linebacker. But his rookie year, he was a defensive end on the right side. In his rookie year, he started all 16 games. He recorded an interception. He had 4 forced fumbles, 7.5 sacks, 14 quarterback hits, 64 combined tackles. That's pretty good production for a rookie, wouldn't you say? The other cool thing here, the other little nugget here, is that him and Chase Young in their rookie years had the same amount of sacks. Okay, it's pretty cool. The crazier part here is that when you go over his statistics, yeah, he was selected to 4 Pro Bowls. And to me, he should have been selected to a fifth one in 2014, where he had 13 and a half sacks. He started all 16 games. He had 5 forced fumbles, the most in a season for his career. Like I said, he had 13 and a half sacks, 64 combined tackles, 19 quarterback hits. So really, and of course, you can just gloss over the surface looking at statistics and, oh, those look like Pro Bowl numbers. But again, you would have to dive into that season and look past the surface of the stats there, and you'd have to look at the tape. But looking at the stats in 2014, you can arguably say Ryan Kerrigan should have been a Pro Bowler. So that, to me, that's 5 Pro Bowls instead of 4, and you carry that over a span of 10 years. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's nothing negative about this signing to me. When you especially consider, like, the defensive line position as a whole. This tells me that the depth at defensive line, especially the defensive end position, was worse than we thought. And you have to consider the idea of when we dial it back to the Super Bowl year. One of the most important things to the Eagles that year was having a constant rotation of players on the defensive line to keep, not just to keep the veterans healthy, but you're giving the offensive line different looks, and everybody's technique is different. So when you talk about keeping your defensive line fresh, different rotations coming in and out. I mean, this is basically you're going by the same mentality here. So, but man, so let me see. AK Eagles in the building. What's going on? Good to see you once again, man. Hey, I seen you over in Gate City Sports' channel. Y'all were in a 5-hour live stream that he turned into a call-in. You know what? Big shout out to Stephen Hyder over there. That's 5 hours of a call-in, and it wasn't even draft coverage. I remember doing it almost a 6-hour stream, and that was draft related. So, man, shout out to him for having that big of a stream going on. Big Play Slay going, I hate how people say he's washed when he's coming in to be a rotational piece and can dominate while still creating mismatches on the defensive line and helping the corners. I mean, I don't know how much better you can put it. When we talk about these rotational pieces, of course, I mean, what was Chris Long to us? What was Michael Bennett to us? And, when we go back to the Super Bowl year, I think we still had guys like Bo Allen on the team. And I think Vinny Curry was still on the team unless he was over in Tampa Bay. I almost had to sneeze. But, exactly, that's what I'm saying. And then you come into this year with the amount of potential that we have along the defensive line, along the linebacker position, some people at corner, which, corner is another conversation in itself in the secondary. But, with the guys that we drafted day 3, you're talking about guys like Marlon, was it Marvin or Marlon? I can't remember his first name now. It's tripping my mind. But Tui Pelotu, Teron Jackson, Patrick Johnson, Milton Williams, all those defensive line pieces, and then you add another veteran to the mix in Ryan Kerrigan, who is proven at his position. He has shown that he has versatility. I mean, it's quite, man, like, I don't know how to put it right now, because we were so hell-bent at one point even before the draft and wanting a guy like Howie Roseman fired, and then he's making moves in free agency that we didn't initially think of, but they make sense at the same time. And let's not skew this as, with us bringing these veterans in, it's a different atmosphere. It's not like we're having to rely on these veterans, to be in a starting rotation. It's a different atmosphere. So it's like, you're trying to you're trying to build something here. It's different. Jock Talk in the building. Oh, your first time here. Well, I definitely appreciate having new people hop into this stream and checking out my content, seeing what I got on my channel. Since I got somebody new in here, if you haven't taken a deep dive into my content, weirdly enough, I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, so I also do NBA content in regards to the Dallas Mavericks. I was going to add a little bit of Mavs stuff in here, but I thought I'd keep it Eagles for now. The Mavs are another conversation to me because, we're sitting at the 5 seed, and I think we got the Clippers again. So here we go. Last time we were the 5 seed, the year was 2011, and Mavs fans, y'all know what happened. So but I'm not going to get into that. So I'll leave that for another day. Yeah, it was crazy fun. Can't wait for us to get. I know, dude. I'm pumped up. I was watching a bit of Moogie Robinson and Pablo Gary. They killed it with a stream that they had on Sunday. Y'all killed it with Gate City Sports. I just wanted to get engaged in some of these streams, but I wasn't home. I was so mad. So look at Lindy, so inspirational, hefty. I know, like this is I'm at 6 people right now. It's crazy. Like, man, I'm not even thinking about it because I'm just talking. Jaquan was highest paid undrafted player for us. Jaquan. Trying to think of who that is. Trying to think of who Jaquan is. Jay Fizz in the house. I literally just replied to you in Discord, and also congrats to your Mavs. Well, see the irritating part now. Let me see. What did you? I gotta see what you replied to. Okay, so all right. So Jay Fizz talking about how I said about Trevon Grimes moving to tight end. Jay Fizz says, I like the idea of it. I said for years if Kelvin Benjamin could stay healthy to move him to tight end if we can't get good value for Ertz, and Grimes is a decent weapon and can block this. See, I don't know, because we're already this is the thing that I'm trying to figure out with this Trevon Grimes tight end experiment. We already have a lot of experimental guys at the position of tight end. You look at the guy from Buffalo and Tyree Jackson. He was a quarterback converted tight end. Hakeem Butler was a receiver converted tight end. Caleb Wilson is a project in himself. Jason Kroom is a project in himself. And then we get that undrafted rookie free agent in Jack Stoll. So, I mean, there's a lot of bodies at that spot right now, and I think until we know what's going on with Zach Ertz, and until that weight is lifted off our shoulders, I don't know if it's a good idea to add another project tight end to the mix, because we may even need to go into free agency to pick somebody up to help complement Dallas Goedert. When it comes, and I don't even see. See, this is the thing. I get that Trevon Grimes has a good size to him. He's about 6'3", 6'4". He's around 220. But then in the same breath, you look at all the other receivers on this roster right now that are comparable to him. not in height per se, but we have a lot of guys that are like X-caliber receivers. You look at Travis Fulgham and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, the other undrafted free agent, and Jamon Osborne. Who's the other guy that I'm trying to think of? Travis Fulgham, if I didn't say his name already. But you're already looking at a good number of those X-type receivers. I feel that Trevon Grimes, if he has any any chance of making the roster as an undrafted free agent, I feel that he should want to stick out in the wide receiver room instead, because you have to think about this. Brian Johnson's influence in bringing Trevon Grimes here, you have to think about that in the back of your mind. Yeah, so you just have to think of those little things, and especially with Brian Johnson being here as the quarterback coach. If there wasn't a chance in a guy like Trevon Grimes being able to make it onto the roster, I don't think Brian would have contacted him trying to get him to come to Philly if Brian didn't think that he had a chance. So that's the thing though, because it's like when you think of the X receiver for the Eagles, it's like there's no clear-cut guy. There's no lock. So and that includes Travis Fulgham. Part of the reason that he got sort of benched last year was not just because of the veteran favoritism. Of course, they have to, Howie Roseman has to justify, signing Alshon Jeffrey to that big contract, and he has to see the field and he has to play. Otherwise, it was a waste of money and stuff like that. Besides the veteran favoritism, not only did Travis Fulgham have a maturity issue with dealing with that fact of losing important snaps on the field, but he was also dealing with an ankle injury that he ended up getting surgery for. So there's other elements to it. I get it, but at the same time, I just don't see moving Trevon Grimes to tight end as like a viable option for him. I get it. You're going to do what's in the best interest for yourself and making it on the roster. But I don't think Trevon Grimes is the right build for a tight end. He would need to bulk up. Of course, he would need to bulk up a little bit. He would need to gain about, I don't know, a good 15 to 25 pounds. He's going to lose speed. He already has issues with getting off the line of scrimmage and creating separation for himself. I know he's a receiver that likes the 50-50 ball. His route running needs a little bit of work. There's a reason why Trevon Grimes went undrafted, and some people may justify that he should have been drafted, but all in all, we get the fact that he played with Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney, but at the same time, there's a reason Trevon Grimes still went undrafted. And I would not be surprised that, barring the performance in camp by other players, I wouldn't be surprised that at this point in time, Trevon Grimes would even be limited to special teams, because, sometimes you even have to be productive in special teams before you even see the field. From an offensive or defensive standpoint. Sometimes that's the way it works. I think it was the Q&A show on the Inside the Birds platform, or the channel for Inside the Birds. It was Quinn Michael and Jason Avant, and they were talking about something like this. And I think that was one thing that Jason Avant alluded to, is that sometimes sometimes it's not even about making it on offense or defense. You also need to show value on special teams. So Grimes may even start off at that, and he could be on the bubble or on the edge, on the edge of the practice squad to make it to the final 53 or what have you, in case he needs to be called up. But at this point in time, I'm not going to put a lot of stock into him, being that there's going to be a high amount of competition with the players that we have to begin with at wide receiver, because we got to know what we have in guys like Quez Watkins and John Hightower and Travis Fulgham in year 2 for the Eagles, even though Travis Fulgham wasn't a rookie last year. Picking him up, I think, in waiver claims. We have to know what these guys have in their second year with a organization that has some stability. Finally we have some stability at this point in time with with a coaching staff, and there's no struggle. There doesn't seem to be a struggle of power anymore at this point. When you got a fresh head coach in here, and he has his guys in the building, unlike what they were doing with Doug Peterson, with bringing guys like Rich Scangarello and Martin Morningwig, and not really having a definitive role. Like, Doug Peterson for years really didn't have an offensive coordinator. I think the last time he had an offensive coordinator, a true offensive coordinator, I believe was 2018, when it was I think it was Mike Groh and Frank Reich left. Ever since then, he didn't really have an offensive coordinator. So in 2020, you had a mismatch, not a mismatch, but a mashup of just different, seem to be, quick made up, these made up positions. And, there's just, you watched that season and you felt that, what is the direction that this football is, what is the direction that this football team is trying to take? And now, even though it's very early at this point in time, our Eagles, we seem to have a direction right now. So I want to see that follow through. I want to see what what some of these guys have going into year 2, and I don't know if converting specific players would be a good idea. Just to be on the safer side of keeping things simple. That's just me. Trevon Grimes in red zone situations could be problematic and on short yardage from the tight end spot, but I feel you. Yes. So yeah, and I mean, the argument can go both ways, and obviously put, but at the same time, when it comes to being a tight end, is Trevon going to be a good blocker? Does he have the physical makeup to be a blocker in run blocking situations? Like, for instance, people think Zach Ertz isn't a good blocker. Well, he's not he's an inconsistent blocker, but when you need him on some run plays to block a corner or a safety or what have you, he's pretty damn good. Obviously, because it's a mismatch with a smaller guy in the secondary versus a tight end, but he still does his job at those points in time. So when you talk about moving a receiver to the tight end spot, that's a big factor. And I don't know if Grimes has the build to be able to block, especially with him having to bulk up. He's not going to be as fast as he is right now, and that's another issue of his. He doesn't really play to that 4.4 speed on tape. Yeah, you can run that 4.4 in a dash on the 40, but do you play to that in a game? And there's times where he doesn't. Grimes struggled with getting off the line. The speed wasn't the best, and he didn't play up to par using his speed because he's not so he's closer. like he's closer to a 4-5 runner instead of that like bottom 4-4. So yeah, that's exactly what I was just saying. Which to Big Play Slay's credit, I probably should have read his comment first because it seems that he beat me to the punch with what I just explained on how I feel about Grimes. But yeah, Slay, Big Play Slay, you and I are on the same page as regards to Javon Grimes, because yeah, like I said, he's an undrafted guy. He has a lot of work to do, to be able to potentially move up the depth chart. Mike was a bum. I have to imagine. I have to imagine that you're referring to Mike Groh, J Fizz. So I wouldn't exactly call Mike Groh a bum flat out. I feel that, as we know, he was a better wide receivers coach than he was an offensive coordinator. I think to this day, I still would be fine with him as the receivers coach, because he was able to get good production for what it's worth out of guys like Nelson Aguilar in his second year. Aguilar really improved in year 2, and Mike Groh was a part of that development. Now, of course, you can chalk that to the scheme of the offense and the quarterback and the receivers being on the same page and what have you. But Mike Groh still made good contributions in that regard. It's just that he got a promotion that shouldn't have happened. In his defense, though, we got JP in here as a tight end and moved into left tackle. Yeah, so, I mean, Jock Talk saying, I love Coach Nick preaching fundamentals. Oh, yeah. So I seen you comment that before. I just didn't get to it because we were in the the conversation was other topics. But yeah, that is one thing that I wanted to share with you guys that I felt was very important in regard to how even Nick was talking about, and this press conference was just after a rookie mini camp, and how he's explaining the expectations and what he wants from this football team, how well he's connected to the rest of the offensive coaching staff, and what he and Shane Steichen are trying to develop from an offensive standpoint. Brian Johnson's contributions as a quarterback coach to Jalen Hurts, and even a guy like Jamie Newman, and I could throw Joe Flacco in there, but it doesn't matter at this point because he's a veteran that's 37. He's been there, done that. So I'm not going to include Joe Flacco in that conversation. But when we talk about these guys, from an offensive standpoint, these offensive coaches, they're continuing to give me a good they keep continuing to give me a good sense of direction as to where, like, the vision that they have in this football team moving forward, and that's very important. The reporters ask him stupid questions. Yeah, so I mean, but at the same time, that's their job. I mean, not to say it's their job to ask stupid questions, but it's their job to squeeze out whatever information they can in the most, I guess, in the most inconspicuous ways possible. Like before the season starts, they're trying to dig at these guys, like at the coaches, just to put that story out there, to be the first guy for that story and what have you. But it is what it is. But at some point here, while I'm continuing to read through the comments, because the interaction is fantastic. I gotta give it up to y'all. I'm loving the interaction right now in the comments. It's truly amazing right now. So, I wanted to share with you guys on screen at some point here, as I get through the comments. I want to share with you guys one of the most important answers to a question that how Sirianni answered it, and it really goes to show where he is and what he wants out of this football team. So AK Eagles going, Nick is definitely the wild card in this whole situation, how he handles this season, and if he truly teaches what he preaches, if he does what he says, I think we will be decent. Well, that's I mean everything that he's saying, is what we want to hear, of course. And it's just that it's the whole mantra of actions speak louder than words. So we can speculate all we want at this point in time. It's just how he's going to translate that, from these pressers and from these camps and from these practices, how that's going to translate to to regular season games. Even in preseason, for what it's worth, just to see. Just to see what these third and fourth stringer guys, what they're capable of. Angry Eagles fan in the building, otherwise known as Papa T. Kerrigan, the Eagle Slayer. Yeah, he was. He definitely was. But now he's on the good guys team. So 9 Inks as well in the building. Good to see you. I really, really love the Kerrigan signing, as a lot of us should like this signing. It like I said at the start of the stream, it resembles what Chris Long meant to us. It resembles what a guy like Michael Bennett meant to us, and it's just a good veteran move, to give more wisdom at the position, outside of guys like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. And, the versatility that he possesses is important, especially, with the draft picks that we brought in, like guys like Teron Jackson and Patrick Johnson. This is a guy in Ryan Kerrigan who is a proven player. He has almost 96 sacks to his name in his career. And the versatility that he possesses, it's important. There's an importance there. There's an importance there when you talk about the rookies that we brought in, and the kind of wisdom, and how like as far from a production standpoint on how Ryan Kerrigan has been to that defense. That does wonders for some of these rookies, coming into camp, and that they're going to be able to work with a guy like this, a guy who's been established for 10 years in the NFL, being one of those top guys in sack numbers. It's unreal. I mean, I think the only other 2 active players right now that have 100 sacks are J.J. Watt and I think it's J.J. Watt and Von Miller, if I'm not mistaken. So for Ryan Kerrigan just to be outside of that kind of elite category speaks volumes. And now he's a member of our squad at one of the more perfect times when we're bringing in guys from the draft class that work along the defensive line that have played multiple positions. I mean, there's nothing negative to say about this signing. Now, of course, I don't know if the numbers have been reported to how much he's been paid, but I can't imagine it's a lot, for one. And two, at the same time, does it really matter at this point? So so long as we had the money to be able to pay the rookie class, and where we are at right now, we should be okay. Shram, or however you spell it, said the best undrafted player was Jamie Newman, and we got him. I mean, yeah. So that's the cool part. I like bringing in Jamie Newman just for the sole fact that I don't know, man. This Joe Flacco thing with how, and I get it, but he's pretty expensive as a backup, for one, and two. We talk about how close in relation as far as skill set goes between a guy like Jamie Newman and Jalen Hurts, to where if for whatever reason Jamie becomes the backup to Jalen Hurts, if you insert him into the offense, it's like the offense isn't going to really miss a beat. So it's pretty damn good. Yeah, I agree with it. if he was that good at wide receiver coaching, Matt Collins would be a starter. I think we let how much better Nelson looked in the slot be an indicator of his good coaching instead of Nelson being. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm not, and I wasn't saying in regards to like. I wasn't saying in regards to Mike Grove being an elite wide receiver coach because it is what it is. But yeah, Aguilar was a first round pick. We expected more out of him, and it's just how the fallout was. So yeah, I get it. It is what it is. AK Eagles will never let Matt Collins die. Yeah, I know. You and Jay Fizz with this, and Arthega Whiteside as well. Oh man. Ryan in rotation is problematic if bodies stay healthy. This D line is arguably top 3 in the league. Yeah, top three is a high regard. At this point, without us seeing what this rotation does on the field, and yeah, we can. And of course, there's definitely room to speculate in that, but yeah, man, like I was saying earlier, it's just a great resemblance as to how we were in 2017 with the amount of guys that we were able to rotate in and out of that lineup on the defensive line. Keeping players healthy, keeping them refreshed, making sure that they got their break in between so they can go back out on the field and do their job. We didn't have that last year, and especially with how emphasized Jim Schwartz was with the importance of the defensive line, and there was just too many games where it really tired them out because there was such an over reliance on the D line with getting to the quarterback as fast as possible because he knew his secondary was just bad, and that ended up being the detriment to some players, and some guys just didn't stay healthy, and we could be in a better spot now but yet we still have to figure out what Jonathan Gannon is going to bring to the table with his defensive scheme. I'm telling you, bro, if we play press coverage this season and our corners just make the quarterbacks hold the ball a second or two longer, it's game over. Yeah, I mean that was the open book test. That was the open book answer when you take open book tests or quizzes in school, and that was just it was obvious how to beat our defense last year. Let alone the fact that we weren't healthy whatsoever. It's just, outside of Darius Slade, we had nobody. The defensive line the D line just couldn't stay healthy. Derek Barnett was banged up. I don't know. Brandon Graham may have dealt with something at some point. Fletcher Cox was getting ticky-tack injuries. It's just, and there was really nobody proven behind them. And, now that we have, and that's not to say there's proven people behind them this time, but it's the fact that you have the adequate enough depth to create a rotation to keep these guys, to keep these guys fresh and prevent injury. We have drafted Mac Backpack Collins and JJ Umbrella Whiteside. Yeah, the Umbrella Man. That's Philly 500. That's hilarious, man. It's hilarious that he calls him the Umbrella Man. And shout out to Philly 500. Leave it to him with these funny ass names for these players, dude. It's Kenny Gainwell sounding like a professor. Dude, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Philly 500's always a trip, man. And after watching guys like him for years, it's like the entertainment value never ceases, and that's why these guys are as good as they are. It's just you just got to give it up to them. systematically and hypothetically, Derek Barnett usually gets injured for a good while of the season, so I would assume Kerrigan rotates in and out with him and Sweat. Yeah, it's true, and at the same time, it's just I don't know how to take it with us bringing Barnett back on this fifth year option for $10 million. It's like that's still that thought's still lingering over the top of my head that we actually did this, and and bringing a guy in like Ryan Kerrigan is just going to light that fire a little bit hotter under Barnett. Like come on, man, let's go. You gotta stay on that field, and you gotta put it in gear, dude. It's otherwise nobody's going to give you that contract after us. We may not even keep you. So you got to step it up, man. Plus, I got a lot in Rocker. I think he is flinging to get the best out of the D line. I predict this season Cox has his best sack season to date. It could very well be true, and that's another thing that that kind of goes unnoticed at the same time as when Fletcher Cox is at his best is when the rest of the D line is healthy around him, because it's a given, like every game it's a given where Fletcher Cox always attracts a double team, and there was too many cases where nobody around him would get adequate enough pressure to where it was easy to shut the D line down and prevent pressure on the quarterback, because nobody can shed their blockers outside of Cox. So it's like, well, we can double him, and we know that everyone else can manage their guy, so we're going to be okay. So, and we're hoping this year that that's not going to be the case. So you have a guy, you have Javon Hargrave for hopefully a full season, that he doesn't get hurt again and miss games. And, the time that he missed last year, even before the season started, was detrimental to his growth in the defense, transitioning from the 3-4 to the 4-3. And so you hope a guy like that is healthy. He's getting paid the salary to where he has to play all 16, all 17 games. So you got to hope that a guy like Javon Hargrave stays on the field. You got to hope that these guys stay healthy. You got Hargrave, you got Josh Sweat, you got Barnett, you now have Ryan Kerrigan, you now have you like Brandon Graham, BG, old reliable at 33. He's always doing work. And then we have to see where guys like Teron Jackson and Patrick Johnson and Milton Williams at some points played edge in college. So you have to see where guys like this fit into the picture as well. There is a lot of potential and depth on the D line now that we didn't have last year. So I mean, yeah, it's very well possible that this could be one of Cox's best years. Jock Talk keeping the conversation going on to another position group, saying, I like our running back room. Miles, carry on. And as Philly 500 says, Dr. Kenneth Gainwell. Yeah, Professor Kenneth Gainwell. That's right, man. Yeah. So, and I have to assume, with you not mentioning Boston Scott, that Jock Talk, you don't feel that Boston Scott's going to make the team, and you also didn't mention Jordan Howard. So I mean, yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing that I've been talking about personally. I don't necessarily see a scenario where we keep both Jordan Howard and Kerryon Johnson, unless for the fact of if Kerryon's knee isn't in the shape that that the Eagles feel is good enough to keep him on the roster. If his knee isn't healthy enough, then yeah, I can understand. I could see us keeping Jordan Howard as well. And, and of course, all this is going to be determined on how these guys look in camp and how they battle each other. Big play Slade, Nelson Stinkolar. Yep, had to put that in there. But yeah, so I mean, it's crazy. Oop, didn't want to do that. It's crazy at the same time on how these running backs skill sets, on how they resemble each other. It's quite crazy to think about, and let me see. Brandon Graham, after like week 8, created so much attention because he had like 7 to 8 sacks in the first 7 games. Yeah, and that's the before I transition. Kerryon is still on his rookie deal. Exactly. That's the other advantage that Kerryon Johnson has on Jordan Howard is youth, and that he's still on his rookie contract. But here's the thing: at the same time, Kerryon Johnson doesn't have the NFL production that Jordan Howard does. I mean, Jordan Howard, when he was on, when Jordan Howard was on his rookie deal, I think 3 out of his 4 seasons for the Chicago Bears, he ran for over 1,000 yards. At one point, Jordan Howard was in like the top 3 to top 5 conversation of running backs in the league. Kerryon hasn't hit that. Kerryon hasn't even been close to hitting that point. He hasn't been. It's a fact that we have to face. And part of it obviously is due to his meniscus tear and some other injuries in between. But one of the only reasons that Jordan Howard fizzled out in Chicago is because Matt Nagy wanted to go in a different direction with a guy like Tariq Cohen, who not only can work out of the backfield, but he's a good pass catcher. That is one of the things. That's one of the things that Jordan Howard lacked from playing for the Bears, is that he wasn't a good receiving back. He was kind of a one-trick pony kind of back. He's your old school power back that can work between the tackles. That he can. He's not easy to bring down. From a tackling standpoint and stuff like that. So and of course, and Jordy coming in, yeah. But Howard hasn't gone back to the place that he was before. Yes. So I was going to get to that, but yeah, of course, yeah. He hasn't been that guy for quite some time, and yeah, of course, the shoulder stinger affected him quite significantly, and it affected him to the point where he was close to being out of the league because nobody else was interested in wanting to give him a chance or sign him. And lo and behold, the Eagles were still there, to say, we'd like to bring you back and give you another chance. And and I don't want to look too much into on how ineffective he was for the Dolphins, because he just wasn't a good fit there. So, but that's not the here nor there at this point. But however, getting back to the running back room, yes, I feel that Kerryon Johnson is direct competition to Jordan Howard, just because of the fact of Kerryon is a little more of a complete running back than Jordan is. They're both good in pass protection. I think Kerryon Johnson's a little better than Jordan Howard. They're both pretty damn good. But as Jock Talk brings up, he said he's seen Jordan was first in picking up blocks and second was Kerryon Johnson in the league. Yeah, exactly. And that's one measurable where they're both very similar. They're very good pass protectors. But Kerryon Johnson offers a little bit more from from a perspective of being a complete back, in contrast to a Jordan Howard who coming into 2019, that was one thing that he needed to improve on, and we've seen a little bit of it in the Green Bay Packers game, but it wasn't too much of an extent, because that's what we have Miles Sanders to do. So so I mean, we talk about Miles Sanders too, and it's like, we just have to hope that this kid stays healthy, because there's just so much potential in Miles to be a number one back. And and especially coming from Penn State, where he was the teammate to Saquon Barkley, and we know what Saquon brings as a running back, and good Lord. So, but you talk about these two backs, and they also resemble each other pretty well. It's just that Saquon has a lot more capability of being a home run hitter than Miles does, and it's a shame. Yes, exactly, Jock Talk. Keeping Jalen Hurts clean, yeah, and it's just cases with picking up, and it's just cases with recognizing a blitzer and picking him up. Miles can be a top 5 back. Yeah, he has the potential to, of course. It's just him staying on the field. When you hear Johnson talking about blocking, all you can do is smile. He likes to hit people. Yeah, and that's another thing. When it comes to blocking, when we talk about blocking at the running back position, I forget who said it. It might have been Kerryon Johnson who said this. He said blocking is a mindset, and some guys just don't have it in them to do so. But that's one thing Kerryon prides himself on, is not just being a running back, carrying the ball on running plays, but also being a pass protector, wanting to have that mentality to block somebody. So yeah. But man, time flies. I'll tell you what. We're already almost 52 minutes into the stream. I'll tell you what. And I peaked at I think I peaked at 7 viewers at one point, and I'm still at 4. It's an unbelievable feeling, guys. I can't tell you that enough. It's pretty unreal to this point, with how my channel is growing, and the amount of growth there is in the interaction and the comments, and y'all are killing it for me. This is it's an unreal experience. I can't thank y'all enough. So, but if any of y'all are new to the deal here, like I said, I'm big on my Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm also a Dallas Mavericks fan, so I give some NBA content in that regard. But if like I said, y'all new to the channel, you see it in the banner here. Thank you. Subscribe for more content. Drop some comments, leave a like, whatever. Appreciate it. So while we're continuing to be on the topic here, we talked about, I think we talked about Sirianni about 25 minutes ago, and I think it was Jock Talk that brought it up. If I scroll a little back in the comments here, how he was saying he loves when Sirianni preaches fundamentals. So that was one thing that I wanted to bring up, and I wanted to talk to you guys about in the stream here. So let me share this for a moment. And this is, I think it was Jeff Skversky that asked Sirianni this question over the weekend, when it comes to whether you build the offense, like build the offensive scheme around the quarterback, or the quarterback has to adapt to the offensive scheme. Let me share this for a quick minute. And I want you guys to pay attention. I want you guys to pay attention to what Sirianni says at this point in time. So let me see here. All right, let me check this out. So it's on screen. It's on screen right now. I have it paused at the part of what I want you to hear in regards to what Sirianni has to say. I'm pretty sure Jeff Skversky asked this question, but Clippers tanked to avoid the Lakers. Yeah, man, I don't know. The Mavericks should have beat the Timberwolves just because it was the last game of the regular season. I'm not getting started on that. I'm not. We should have beat the T-Wolves. They got spanked the last time we played them, but Yeah. So, yeah. So without further ado here, I want you guys to pay attention to the question I was asked to Sirianni in regards to, the construction of the offense and, you know, how it pertains to the quarterback and what Sirianni, in what he wants to do.
Nick Fierro.
Nick, knowing that there's a strong chance that Jalen Hurts will win the starting quarterback job, how much of the offense that you've installed is designed to take advantage of his duality, his mobility and athleticism, or is it just basically the offense as it is that you brought with you from Indianapolis, and every quarterback has to kind of work to that system?
Yeah, Jeff, I don't believe that that's good coaching when you just say, here's our offense and let's go. You learn it. Your talents are this and your talents are that, but here's what we run. That's just not good offensive football. Good off.
Need we say more? Need we say more? What have we been talking about? What have we been talking about in regards to how on Doug Peterson's philosophy with the offense and everything? How vanilla it was, how predictable it was, where there were situations where we felt that he wasn't playing, or that he wasn't scheming to the players' strengths and just throwing them out there and having them run a route, and and the struggle of receivers not getting open, and not really and not scheming to the quarterback's strengths. How often was it where we didn't see it? Yeah, AK Eagles, exactly, playing to strengths. How often do we not see that? How often did we not see that? So, and again, I mean, there's not a lot of stock to put into this right now because we're in such an early stage, and we're in such an early stage in regards to hearing our coach speak, and actions speak louder than words. We want to see this on the football field, but knowing the mentality of how our coach is thinking right now, that's a very important aspect that we have to take into consideration, that he's actually going with this in the right direction, as opposed to the last head coach that was in here, who was also the offensive coordinator, may I add. And it's very important. It's very important. I love hearing it. Exactly. Jock talk. I love hearing it. So do I. I love hearing it. I also appreciate, he liked the stream. Yeah, definitely appreciate it, man. Look at it. Look at the advertisement. Everyone should, man. You know what? As much as that's totally up to y'all. I'm doing the best that I can, but it's totally up to y'all with liking the stream, liking the content, whatever. It helps with the algorithm of YouTube getting my stuff around, but that's totally up to y'all, and I appreciate everything. But yeah, exactly. I just want to see receivers go in motion. Yeah, and I have a feeling that we're going to see guys like Jalen Reagor and Devontae Smith do a lot of that. I feel that there's going to be a lot of that. That should be calm in a sense, though. Yeah, it should be. It should be calming in a sense. Exactly. But I paused it. I paused it in the middle of his answer. But we're going to continue on what he said in the final elaboration here.
Offensive football is, and good defensive football and good special teams football, for that matter, is adapting to the players that you have and playing to their strengths. So, of course, Jalen has strong qualities of being able to extend plays and move around and extend plays. So, we're definitely looking at those things and doing those things. We've all had a very extensive amount of time with quarterbacks that are mobile, and that's the same thing for Miles, right? Miles, what does he fit? Again, these are things that when we get on the field with him, we'll figure out a little bit more. But that's still to be determined of what everybody's skill set is But we are putting in an extensive amount of offense, and Coach Steichen has done a great job, and the offensive coaches of really relaying the message to the players and installing it, and the players have done a great job learning
it. I don't know how that can't be, better portrayed from a positivity standpoint. And hearing that, it's like it's music to a lot of Eagles fans' ears right now. Especially like exactly, Jock Talk, exactly. Who is Devontae Smith? Yeah, the perfect answer to a Jeopardy question. Yeah, so I mean, you bring in a guy like Devontae Smith. You have a versatile do-it-all-back in Miles Sanders. He just described the skill set of Jalen Hurts, what his capabilities are. How he's able to extend plays with his legs, and he can still play in the like he can still play in the in the realm, like he can still play in the realm of the offense, and and like he can still play in the realm of the offense. He can go through his reads and everything, which of course Hurts still has work to do in that regard. But Sirianni and Shane Steichen understand what they have in a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, and how much he brings to the table in regard to what they can do on offense, on how well he can open the playbook, like the capabilities and the players that they have around him. Whether it's the running back spot, the wide receivers, the tight ends. The health of the offensive line is going to be very important, and it could also be a detriment onto how this offense can be carried out. So I mean, bro, you know what? I hear a weeder. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. So man, I mean, I don't know where else to take that answer other than it's. And I don't understand at the same time why Sirianni gets the flack that he does. When he got the flack that he did in the beginning, and this rock paper scissors stuff that nobody really seems to understand. It's just it's like, are we used to such a cooker, are we used to such a cookie cutter path that anytime we hear something that's unorthodox, that we want to jot it down as something like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing and this sounds stupid or whatever. No, it's the quirk of the head coach. Like, let him do his thing, so long as it translates to the football field. If this is a method that he wants to use to engage with some of his players, and get a feel for them from a competitive standpoint in like a small manner, then so be it. Leave him alone. Let him do that. But man, we're already an hour into the stream, man. Still got 3 viewers in the building. Man, y'all are killing it with me right now. I definitely appreciate that. But man, what should I do here? He goes, thanks, bro. You said cookies. Now I got the munchies. Thanks a lot. Yeah, no, I didn't even finish my dinner myself. I got it sitting next to me right now. I ate my salmon, and I left my vegetables there. But I gotta eat my veggies though. I gotta eat my veggies. So man, my phone blowing up right now. Yeah, my phone was blown up. People DMing me on Twitter and that. So my fault, y'all. But Jock Talk going. I love how all the other networks and teams think we're unprepared, and yeah, let them think that way. it's just something that the fan base has been used to for years, where we're always counted out, and it just seemed to have gotten worse over time because the rest of the NFC East has been, it's been as garbage as it has been, and you know but at the same time, it's like we deal with people in the fan bases, and it's like, y'all need to mind your own business. It's like, it's like Giants fans, like, y'all gotta Lord Brunson today was hilarious with how he was talking about, Kadarius Toney and not having the right size cleats for 2 straight days and stuff. And he was saying about how he was playing footsies on the field. It was hilarious, tweaking his ankle and everything. Like, oh my goodness! Like, seriously, like, Giants fans, y'all need to mind your business, and y'all got your y'all got your own things to figure out right now. Like, when it comes to Daniel Jones, like, is Daniel Jones going to be the long-term answer for your team? We at least have a direction right now. So, we just need to hope that Jalen Hurts is going to be the answer moving forward. And we got about 2 to 3 years to figure that out, unless we make a move in next year's draft with the amount of picks that we have. But, from a quarterback perspective, we're in a bit of a better position than the Giants are. So, but it is what it is. AK Eagles going, I say you bring in your man AK, and Jordy and Fizz, and we get real up in here. You know what? See, I mean, hey, I might. Listen, I teased it. I teased at the beginning of the stream. I might make it a call-in because I love talking to the people, and the interaction is what keeps me going. Aside of me pushing out the content. So, Philly Ace showing up in the building. What is up, Lindy Endzone? He goes, hey man, good to see you in here. I seen you in a previous stream of mine, popping in, saying hi. What is going on, man? Good to see you hopping in once more. AK Eagles going, at least our quarterback don't fall on the 5-yard line with the nearest guy 10 yards. Exactly. And Jock Talk wanted to be included already. Going, AK, you forgot about me. Well, you know what? I mean it, and you know what? All right. Time out here. You know what? See, now I put let's talk in my thumbnail. I know. I put it in there. So how about we do this? Yes, sir. Boom. There we go. Link is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We got a call in here on the StreamYard platform. Y'all can hang out with Lindy Endzone, your guy, on the stream. Whoever wants to get to talking here, we're gonna kill it, man. We're gonna kill it. I don't know. I'm gonna say, depending on how well this stream continues to go, I may have 2 hours left. I don't know. I may. I'll leave that up to y'all. I'll leave it up to y'all. If I got the good traffic, I'll leave it up to y'all. I can go for about another 2 hours. We can talk it up, get some good chats in here. Let's go, Birds, with a yo and caps. Man, LGB, it's been a minute. What is going on, dude? What is going on? I know you got your football thing in school. Oh shit, the warden is giving us a timeout. What? I don't know about that, but here we go. Let's start this up here. AK Eagles in the building, and LGB wanted to hop on in. Gentlemen,
Yes,
what's
sir.
going on?
What's good?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Yeah. Y'all ain't got your cameras on this time. That's all good.
I'm getting the kids ready for bed while I do this, so
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'll be on in a little bit.
I got you. Man, LGB, I haven't seen you in a minute. I know you're probably trying to catch up with all the Eagle stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Ryan Kerrigan, man. Ryan Kerrigan, what do you think?
I mean, I love it, especially, he's 33 years old. Of course, not going to make an impact on the field, you know what I mean? But he did help with that young defensive line over there in Washington. And I think he could do the same over here in Philly, especially with Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat, the incoming young guys we just drafted on the D line. So big, big move right there.
Yeah, exactly. That's correct. So I had to do a double check because you said 33 years old. He's currently 32. Being that his birthday is in August, he's going to be 33 at the start of the season. So that's how we have to look at it, is what their season age is going to be. So being that he's 32 right now, he's going to turn 33 in August. So yeah, but I mean that, and people got to stop blowing this out of proportion to the fact that, oh, he's old, he's not going to do anything. Like what do we expect him to do in the first place? Like, he's going to be that good rotational piece. He's going to be like Michael Bennett. He's going to be like Chris Long. Come in here, give some of the starters a break, and what have you, and stuff like that. He's going to be as old as Brandon Graham until BG turns 34. So what's the big deal, But it's just going to come down to until we find out information in regards to how much he was paid. But I still don't think it's a big deal at the same time. So we're gonna continue with the load of people in the call-in as well, man. Like I said in previous videos, I upgraded my StreamYard, so this is going to be to y'all's benefit as to us killing it in the streams, in the call-ins. So Big Play Slay being added to the picture, as
Let's
well
do it,
as
man.
one of my main guys, and Jordy. Good to see you once again, man.
What's up, Jordy?
Let's kill it.
Jordy.
What up, Jordy?
What's up, AK? Slay.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, man? What's good? Buddy,
What's
how
up,
you doing?
Andy?
So let's keep it going with Ryan Kerrigan, everybody, because I already got LGB's take on this. He loves the mood. I think the consensus is everybody loving the pickup of Ryan Kerrigan, and it's still crazy at the same time to imagine that this guy goes from a limited snap count in 2020. He only played about 38% of the snaps, but he still got 5.5 sacks. But as a Nugget, at the same time, in 2019, he was only at 57% of the snaps. So it was just like a slow decline in in his impact on the football field. But for reference, let me get back to. So in 2019, he also recorded 5.5 sacks. But yeah, so with his role, like I said in the beginning, with his role diminishing, and the Washington football team in their own regime of wanting to have that youth injection on their defensive line and moving on from veterans that they don't necessarily need anymore. But again, we get a guy in Ryan Kerrigan who's going to be repurposed here. He has that versatility on the D line. He played defensive end as a rookie. He was a rotational linebacker piece between the left and the right side. So now, coming to the Eagles, he's listed as a defensive end again. So I have to ask the rest of y'all. So whether Big Play Slay want to continue with this, or Jordy, I mean, where are y'all on the signing with Kerrigan?
Do you want to go, Jordy, or you want me to let it go?
You can go first.
All right. So I think this is a good signing. I really don't think. I think it's one of those signings where it's almost as people have compared it to today. Chris Long. You want one of those guys to be like a rotational piece or rotational depth that can fit in your scheme and go get you sacks and stuff. He's going to be that type of mismatch on the D line where you can put him in and he can help guys that get very tired and he can go in for them. I think that's what his primary role is in this scheme.
Oh yeah, we have to revert back to what we seen in 2017 with with the amount of guys from a depth perspective is to keeping these other guys, keeping these other guys fresh and healthy on the field so they can make sure to do their contributions without being, without being exhausted, And I brought up guys like Bo Allen like guys with Bo Allen and Vinny Curry were still in the team, and they were coming in the rotation, to relieve guys like Timmy Jernigan and Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and guys like that. And it's the same mentality here. But not only that, but you bring in another seasoned veteran to a room with a lot of youth at that position, and from a perspective of knowledge and wisdom, I mean, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Ryan Kerrigan, that kind of trio, what they can offer to some of these rookies, it's a pretty impressive collection of knowledge, if I can say so myself. So, what do you think, Jordy?
Now, I don't like this signing as much as I want to like this signing.
Okay.
Because I look at the end depth, I look at the tackle depth, I look at some of the guys in the market. There's not many left, but I think if they could have snatched up another one or two free agency defensive ends or UDFA, I would have been fine with that too for depth. But I don't think we needed something like defensive end as much as Kerrigan would help, as to get a body to play second CB or a body to mentor the wide receivers. And I get it. We've got a lot of receivers and we've got a lot of corners, but we out of both those positions, you've got one real veteran. That's Slay. So as much as we may need a mentor on the line, we need one at corner and receiver, and now we really don't have the money for it after rookies.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, at the same time, until we know what Kerrigan was paid, and I could probably actually look that up right now. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't think it's solely a mentality of that not the sole purpose of Kerrigan being here is just to be a mentor, but he still has gas in the tank to be able to provide the contributions that we need, and I feel that it's not going to be I feel that it's not going to be in regards to just like only under 40% of the snaps. He's gonna want to provide more of a contribution in that regard, and we've seen the lack of depth at defensive end to where there was cases where we had to overwork guys like Brandon Graham, and then you had Derek Barnett in and out of the rotation to injury, and then you had you're trying to bring Josh Sweat into the picture, and he's not quite there yet because he's not getting the amount of snaps that he needs. So there's going to be a collaboration of different opportunities here for some of these guys, and you talk about a player in Ryan Kerrigan on what he still can offer to this football team, and it's perfect to think of him in that mold of a guy like Michael Bennett or Chris Long, because he's not going to be that that high impact player. He's going to have a role to where he's going to accomplish what's necessary without taking snaps away from guys that need it. Some of these rookies, some of the year 2 players. So that's where I'm at on it. But I'll let. While I'm trying to find what his contract is, some of y'all can further elaborate on, what whether you agree or disagree to my point. Some of y'all, I'll let y'all to further elaborate on your opinions as well.
I do agree with your point, but see, here's the thing. I don't think any of you guys have said this, but some Eagles fans today, I saw him saying that he didn't like this move because he thinks Ryan Kerrigan is washed. And I don't really want to say that because Ryan Kerrigan is 32. And yes, he is 32, but he's coming in to only be a rotational piece, not some guy that you plug in and you expect them to break out right away. That's not what he's in here for.
He's not here for, playing. He's here to mentor these young guys because we're a very young team right now. Offense, defense. We have a 22-year-old quarterback leading us right now. So yeah, he's not here to make an impact on defensive line. Who knows? Maybe he might get like a 5-sack season. You know what I mean? But he's here to mentor these young guys because we don't have enough veterans right now. Derek Barnett, I said Derek Barnett. Brandon Graham, Darius Slay, Fletcher Cox. We have very few veterans on our team right now that could mentor these young guys. I like this for that perspective. If it was for him to, be a starter and expect him to get like a 10-sack season, then no. That's not what he's supposed to be here for.
But
I get what you're saying, Jordy.
Here's the thing. One, it's I would argue he's here to not only be somewhat of a role player and just to be as a relief guy, and you're still probably going to start Derek or even try to put Josh Sweat in that role as a starter.
Exactly.
But I'd also say, wasn't Washington 3-4 till Rivera came in and he swapped it to a 4-3, if I'm not mistaken?
I think they were.
I think so.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that worries me is they were in a 3-4 for the longest time.
Yeah, I believe so because he rotated to the left and right outside linebacker role. The only time where he did it was when he was a rookie in 2011, where he played defensive end on the right side, and he produced. He definitely produced, but
that team was just so good last year in Washington that on defensive line, it helped the corners as it will help us too, because you're gonna have to have guys you're gonna have so many guys that are gonna create mismatch nightmares on the defensive lines, and that's gonna create havoc in the middle and the inside, and you got guys coming in and out of the rotation, and that's gonna help the corners, especially Darius Slay, who has probably one of the hardest tasks of being a corner, and now he has another player to rely on the defensive line.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at it, when you look at it, the whole issue that we're I'm reading through comments. I'm trying to multitask, but the issue here is that there was too many circumstances, there was too many scenarios where you look at the pass rush as a whole, and there was too many cases where they were unsuccessful, and that caused guys like Slay having to do an extended to do an extended job in coverage, because these guys aren't getting home the way that they're supposed to, and aside from the scheme that I didn't like with Jim Schwartz, like I said, that over reliance on the defensive line on his defense was predicated on the pass rush, and if the pass rush didn't get home, then all else fails, and with the lack of dedication to the secondary and what have you and stuff like that. So, but again, I'm coming back to the point that what did we see, and what was our biggest benefit in our Super Bowl run was the amount of depth that we had on the defensive line, especially the fact that these guys were playmakers at the same time. Chris Long was a playmaker. Timmy Jernigan, for what it's worth, he was a playmaker. Fletcher Cox was younger. Brandon Graham was younger. These guys were playmakers. Ryan Kerrigan for this season is a playmaker. Javon Hargrave is going to be healthy now. He's a playmaker. Fletcher Cox is still a playmaker. Josh Sweat's a playmaker. So when you when you put that into consideration, and then you have a young core behind these guys to where they can learn under the veterans, and it's a good collaborative effort, then you're going to see more success on the defensive line, because it's more it's a more overwhelming assignment for the opposing offensive line to have to block more more than one intimidating player on the D line that is a threat to cause sacks.
Absolutely.
So, did you find the numbers on his contract?
No, I see.
Yeah.
I
His
see,
numbers, his numbers haven't been out yet.
yeah,
So
no.
I'm seeing
Haven't
Ian
made
Rappaport tweeted us
any
23 minutes ago that it's up to 3.5 million, and I'm assuming that's with incentives because this is worth up to. So that's
Okay.
interesting, but I can almost guarantee since it's Howie Roseman, it's got at least 1 or 2 dummy years stacked on it. But that's not bad. That's not exactly what I thought it would be because it's Howie. And this offseason hasn't been as bad as I really expected. I thought it would be like a nuclear disaster.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Let me see here if I can. Yeah, so it's only 3.5. Where's the see if I can find the tweet here.
Twitter, you can look on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm on there right now. Okay, so yeah, the Eagles signed Kerrigan to a 1-year deal worth up to $3.5 million. Yeah. For a defensive lineman, especially a guy of that caliber, that's dirt cheap, man. That's definitely dirt cheap. Whew, wow. So let's see if my guy AK Eagles is officially ready. It's looking like it. Looks like he's on his phone this time. So, but what's going on,
I'm
man?
here, man.
What's
Not
up,
much, dude. Hey, did you just see that Steven Nelson just followed the Eagles on his Twitter? And it's the only
Yeah.
team that he's following on his Twitter at the moment.
Well, he's actually following only 2 teams. It's us and the Miami Dolphins. But I wish he didn't. I wish he didn't tease us, man. I wish he wasn't doing it. I know,
right?
Dude.
Right.
Liking tweets about Brian. Liking tweets about Brian Dawkins and these interviews and everything. Like, come on, cut it out. There's 14 other teams that are in contact with Pittsburgh about or not Pittsburgh because I think he's a free agent, but he's in contact with 14 other teams. Like these people are showing interest, but I think the list is narrowing down to like top considerations, but just like how it was with Ryan Kerrigan. I mean the Steelers and Bengals had interest in him and. I think Pittsburgh would have been a little more of an attractive destination for him to play along that defensive front, even though they had injury issues. But you got to, I don't know, man. I love it. I love it either way. But yeah, I wish Steven Nelson would stop teasing us, man. I don't want to go through it.
He's playing with my heartstrings, man.
I know. Who was it? Who was it last year, or the year before that teased us, and then we never signed him? I can't remember who it was.
Wasn't it one of the big free agents too?
It was a big free agent, and he was teasing himself in an Eagles jersey or something, and he had like the thinking emoji on a tweet or something. I can't remember who it was. It's gonna bother me.
I can't either, and I remember that because I remember the PSN Discord going haywire when that happened.
What wasn't it like AJ Boye or Ramsey or something like that?
I think so. Something around there.
It was a corner. Yeah, it was like AJ Boye or the guy from the Broncos. What's his face? Chris Harris. It might have been Harris.
I don't know if it was.
It might have been Harris.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I forget. It's one of them though.
It was a big ticket corner. I can't remember. But now people want us to trade for Stephon Gilmore, and and then there's people saying that we should trade to Jock Talk saying it was a defensive lineman. That's making me think more. But
well, then I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Sorry.
Oh man. No, I have no idea, dude. But now there's people talking about that we should trade for that we should trade for Stephon Gilmore and or trade Zach Ertz to the Cards for Jordan Hicks. I mean, I know the contributions that Jordan Hicks made here. Oh, that's right. Jock Talk, thank you. Yannick Ngakwe. Yes, that's who it was. Thank you, Jock.
You are so right, sir. Thank you.
It was Yannick. He was teasing coming to Philly, and he broke all of our hearts. So Steven Nelson, cut it out. I don't want it happening again. I don't even think we have the money to sign him anyway.
Which in the end, it kind of worked out because he really didn't have that stellar of a season following that trade.
No, he didn't. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully he can contribute a little bit better and
Actually,
for
go to
the
Baltimore.
Vegas
Didn't he go
Raiders.
to Minnesota?
Yeah, he
think
went
he's
from
also-
Baltimore. He stayed in Baltimore till like week 6 or 7, and then Baltimore traded him to Minnesota at the middle of the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, but all right. So where are we? So we brought up more trade scenarios here, and I didn't necessarily talk about them much on my part. But where are we at with this? Where are we at with this? Like this speculation of Stephon Gilmore. Like, is it absolutely necessary to trade for a top tier corner, or do we think we're okay with a guy like Steven Nelson or somebody capable of being the CB2 opposite of Slay to, kind of help us get the ball rolling in a secondary perspective?
Who wants to go first?
Whoever wants to open with that. Whoever got the first thought.
I don't think we already have a quote unquote top tier corner, Darius Slay, right now. Another one, I wouldn't mind that, of course, but one, do we have the money? And two, would it be worth it? Like, obviously, it's Stephon Gilmore, but last year he didn't have too much of a year you'd expect from a lockdown corner like Stephon Gilmore. So age might be a factor. You definitely got to look at that. Now, I'd like it for both of them to be mentoring Zach McPherson, who I think could be something special in the future for us. I like that kid a lot, But Steven Nelson might not be too terrible for now, I don't think we need something like big like Gilmore right now, especially with the money that we have. I think, saving for the future might be better for now.
Yeah. So I guess I'll bring this up from Jock Talk because it's pretty relevant. And he says, would you trade Ertz and Barnett for a top corner to free up money? So now I don't know about that because it depends if you're talking about Ertz and Barnett as a package, or if you're talking about them separate. I would have to assume that you're talking about them separately because nobody's going to want to take a combined $19 million from two players where you don't know where they're going to exactly be. So I mean, yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So yeah. So you guys continue your thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Now, my thing with this is, I don't think you need to go for Gilmore. I think you need to go for a somewhat younger corner that can still give you some production on the outside, but it's not going to give you top corner numbers, because you don't need that in a number 2 corner right now if you're going to bring Zach McPherson up to be the next Slay. You just need somebody who can hold down the fort and give you decent numbers till Zach gets up to a good level, or until Slay goes out and then you could potentially move around some corners. As for moving Ertz and Barnett, I'd love to move Barnett. I would love to move him as soon as possible. I don't know about moving Ertz right now. I'd like to wait and see what happens with him for a couple games. See if last year was a fluke. But I'd be all for dealing Barnett in a pick for a decent corner. Maybe Barnett in a 4th or 5th.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, I don't know, man. It's just tough thinking about that $10 million fifth-year option in the back of my mind, and I think the only attraction, that teams would have to Barnett is, he's been in and out of the lineup because of the fact of injury, but you consider at the same time that I think the only thing that makes Barnett attractive at this point is his age. I mean, he's only 24 years old, and he was a former first-round pick. So I mean, outside of that, I don't know what his market is, but it is what it is. I feel at this point Ertz would be a better trade target, even though his 2020 year was the way it was. But at the same time, I'm just not sure. But so at that point, what it to your guys' perspective, it feels like it would make more sense to sign a corner rather than trade for one. I mean, we picked up another guy in Nate Metters, and he was part of the Vikings when Jonathan Gannon was there, but we're talking about I think we're talking about a player here that's I don't think he's on his I'm not sure whether he's still on his rookie contract or not, but it's a player that's been on and off of a practice squad. He's jumped between the Vikings and I think Jacksonville like 3 or 4 times. So he says we got a gem in him, and I like the mentality on his part. But there's just not a big expectation there. He's not a guy that's going to come in and insert himself as a competitive force right away. He's not an immediate answer, especially from a CB2 perspective. So it feels at this point that I don't know, depending on the market right now for corners, it's like there's people that want Steven Nelson, there's people that even want Richard Sherman, and that instead of us losing trade capital, that may be the direction that we have to take.
Absolutely.
No, I agree, bud. I agree. I wouldn't mind doing the free agent way. I'm going to get a lot of backlash for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway, so bear with me here.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
If I was the Eagles, man, I would sit on it. Ertz. I would. Even if he doesn't want to play and you got to find him, I would sit on it. It's easier to let him sit and find him than it is to play against him. Even to trade him. I mean, he's worth something. At least to us as Eagle fans, at least to Howie, at least to Jeffrey, he's worth something. He might not be worth to somebody else on another team as much as he is us, but he is worth something. Like I've been saying, man, one bad year does not erase everything that man has done. And
he's
and if
still
he doesn't want to play with us, that's fine. It's the same way I told you with Carson. If you don't want to be here, don't let the door hit you on the way out. But the fact is, though, I just can't see us letting him go for nothing, not getting anything back in return. You let him walk, you lose. You trade him, you kind of lose unless it's for somebody really good like Stephon Gilmore. But you got to get something back for him. Because in the end, that just hurts us.
Absolutely. He's a reliable target in any offense when he wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, dude, no lie. You put him on the Cardinals right now, he's the icing on the cake with everybody else they have. That would just be the missing piece for Kyler Murray. You put him on Green Bay, that's the missing piece. You put him on any of these teams who are playoff contenders, he's that one missing piece, especially if they don't have a tight end. So, yes, he is worth something. They're just taking advantage of us because they know he doesn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you. We could wait it out. And honestly, I'd be more favored to do that because everyone says he's worse than he was 2 years ago when he was a top 3 tight end. But I think he can still be top 5, top 10 in the league if he regains himself and gets back that motivation. The problem is does he want to play here?
Last year was a fluke, man.
Yeah.
Everybody can have a fluke season. That doesn't mean shit.
I mean,
You
our
know?
whole offense had a fluke season.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's
I
be
mean-
honest. Our whole team had a fluke season, even our front office.
Well,
I-
and that's what I told you. Who I was talking to yesterday on the podcast, one of them. You know, I told him. I said, listen. I said, you have to realize something. Jalen Hurts ran the number 2 overall offense for the last 4 weeks of the season in yards per game, all that stuff. Okay. Everyone wants to sit there and say Jalen Hurts was bad. No, as a team, we were bad, but the team was so bad that it literally didn't let him stand out. How good he actually was doing. Okay, imagine if he had the 2017 team around him, Jalen did, you would have seen everything that he was doing. But because collectively how we played so bad as a team, it did not allow him to shine as an individual, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So before we transition into the quarterback, because corner was still the topic. I wanted to bring up what you guys LGB threw in the comments. He says, guys, we are forgetting about Michael Jacket, as I call him, or Michael Jaquette. I think McPherson and Jaquette shared that second outside spot because I like them both. And yeah, it's possible. The only issue I have when we're comparing them to is that Zach McPherson is he's on the shorter side, in regards to being an outside corner, and he doesn't necessarily have. I don't think he necessarily has the wingspan as one of those guys, that can be a blanket in coverage, even though he plays with a pretty good intensity. He's shown that he's a capable player in special teams. He has quite a resume for snaps on special teams with Texas Tech, and again, this is a guy where he was a transfer. He started his career out in Penn State. He wasn't getting the snaps he thought he deserved in order to improve his game. So he transferred to Texas Tech. It becomes a good story for him, but outside of that, you look at Michael Jaquette, and he was unfortunately tasked with having to play, with having to play like one of if not the best receiver in the league, in DeAndre Hopkins, who had a young gun of a quarterback in Kyler Murray, who I mean, for a loaded Cardinals team that was pretty good. Jalen Hurts, when we talked about him, he was in a pretty good firefight with Kyler Murray, but that's not nor there at this point. But when you talk about having to throw Michael Jaquette out there, and then he gets that tough assignment, and then in the next game he gets another tough assignment, and Michael Gallup, who in his own right, he's pretty good. So I mean, and that's when a guy like Jaquette collapsed, because it's not like he was consistent towards the higher end of the depth chart with being out there and getting the necessary snaps to prove as an outside corner. So that's going to be the biggest question to us, is how well from the ups and the downs when you talk about a guy like Michael Jaquette, is he going to bounce back from having those disappointing performances? That's going to be the biggest question.
Well, and honestly, man, if you look at the cornerback.
But yeah, LGB just brought up, we don't talk about the Cardinals game with Michael Jaquette. No, it's the Cowboys game that we don't talk about Michael Jaquette, because Michael Jaquette did pretty good for against DeAndre Hopkins. He did pretty good. It's Michael Gallup that tore him a new one. But yeah, so.
I don't know if you saw today. I don't know if you guys saw today, but I think the Eagles were like heavily rumored. There was a report today that came out that they were heavily rumored to trade up for one of the top 2 corners in the draft. I think that's what they were gunning. They were gunning to get J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain before taking Smith, ultimately drafting to trade up for Smith.
And in all honesty, man, my sleeper for the outside at corner, just to answer that question earlier, is Malafulu, or however the heck you say his last name. Because dude, that was a
Obi.
Gannon signing. Yeah, yeah,
Ifeatu's brother. Yeah.
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 That 6'4" corner. Because dude, that was a Gannon signing. All together, that was. He likes the tall, long arm, athletic corners, and I would not be surprised if he was signed for a reason, because I don't think the Raiders used him properly, but I think if Gannon can get his hands on him and use him right, I think he might end up being good for us.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think we wasted, and I hate using this term. I think we wasted the money that we had in going to get a guy like Ryan Kerrigan when we could have gotten. And I'm not saying that Ryan Kerrigan is a bad player in terms. I feel like we would have been better off getting Steven Nelson, who would have been a bigger need for us because we need a CB2.
Agreed, Jock. No, honestly, bro, we wasted our money signing Flacco.
Yeah,
it was not
also
worth $8 million. It was not worth $8 million. They could have got him way cheaper than that. Like,
I mean,
that was a waste of money.
Pay without incentives is 3.5 too.
Yeah, so I mean that was a waste of money. If you take the incentives away, dude, like we could have saved so much more money, and then you could have gotten Kerrigan and Nelson, which I mean is still possible, but
yeah,
a lot harder.
I don't know. So I mean, in contrast into saying that we could have spent the money on we could have spent the money on a corner as opposed to Ryan Kerrigan. You also consider the fact that a secondary. There is a benefit. There is a benefit to having a good defensive line, and the secondary is one of those positions on defense that is affected by the D line the most, because if these guys aren't getting to the quarterback and in the fastest time possible, then then that means that the guys in the secondary have to cover for a longer period of time, and if they're not capable of doing so, the quarterback is just going to pick you apart. That works with any offense in the league. It doesn't matter if your D line can't get to the quarterback and he doesn't feel any pressure. He can sit back there all day. I mean, imagine Tom Brady having that luxury. He could score 50 points a game if that was the case. But because you have to put a priority in having a defensive line that can be successful and consistently applying pressure to a quarterback, to have him make decisions that he and have him making quicker decisions than he really wants to. That's not going to be as effective if he was able to go through his reads. Then it's going to better benefit a secondary in that regard, despite who you just and again, there's limitations, like there's exceptions to that explanation. I get it. It also depends on the talent that you have in the secondary. Like it doesn't matter how good a defensive line is if your corners can't cover. I get that. That's the contrast to what I'm talking about. But at the same time, there has to be an equilibrium in that regard. So I think that's the philosophy here in wanting to continue to bolster the defensive line, to give guys in the secondary a bit of a break as far as the amount of time that they have to be in coverage on a receiver or tight end.
I agree with your statement, but I feel, to Jordy's point where he said that we were much rather suited getting a guy for on a cheap year, they could have proved themselves and be a depth piece, much rather to a guy like Ryan Kerrigan, who's also a rotational piece, but he's more of that type of player where you're gonna put him in and out with guys like Derek Barnett and Josh Sweat. I feel like we were much rather suited to get a guy like Steven Nelson because we need his help at CB2 because there's no CB2 at the depth right now.
So you would prefer, despite positional need, you would prefer to sign a player that can work into another contract where, you know, his age isn't going to necessarily affect his performance moving forward. Like, you know, we obviously we know Kerrigan's not going to get to where, you know, we obviously know Kerrigan's not going to get another long-term contract because he's just at that age where it's not necessarily possible anymore. So in other words, that's what I'm saying. You would have preferred to sign a guy, that kid, that can get one more, you know, long-term deal so long as he performs to that expectation.
Yes, I would much rather. I would say that.
Okay, so to that, I would have to say the fact that, you know, with bringing in a guy like Ryan Kerrigan and, you know, the wisdom and the knowledge that he brings to this locker room, with, you know, with the amount of developing players that we have going into this season and very well next year, is that, you know, you're giving these guys. You're giving these guys another stepping stone of a veteran presence to, you know, to help further development, and seeing these guys perform on the field. And, you know, that you can't there you don't I'm jumbling on my words here. It's a signing where, you know, it's not entirely about on the field. It's not entirely about on the field, but it's what Ryan brings off the field as well. So I mean, yeah, I get it. We could have got a corner, but I don't know if I don't know outside of Richard Sherman, maybe, that you could have gotten a corner for the amount of money that Ryan Kerrigan was paid that would have been as effective as Ryan Kerrigan could be on the defensive line.
And you know, I want to give you guys another perspective too to look at. We're not talking about Jim Schwartz anymore. We're not talking about no sticks defense. We're not talking about wide nine. You know, we're talking about Gannon. It's probably going to be a lot of zone. He's going to play to the strengths of these guys. He's not going to just put them on an island and say play. You know, I know over the last 5 years we've had corner troubles, but that was also a lot to do with Jim Schwartz's scheme. I don't think we're going to have those issues under Gannon. Even if you don't have a solid number two with his scheme, it's going to not show as much the weakness. You know what I mean? So you're going to have steadier play at corner two, which means the line will be able to do their job. You know, before we weren't prepared for what was coming just because of the defense we ran. This time we will be. You know, because like I said, I expect a lot more press coverage. I expect a lot more free roaming safeties. You know, I expect gap blitzes from the linebackers, and the linemen are just going to eat up. You know, they're going to do what they do, and that's going to take a lot of our weaknesses away on defense, a lot of our holes. So I'm not too worried about signing a veteran corner, you know, or anything like that, because they'll do what they have to do to hide whatever weakness that it is they're trying to hide.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to mention. I'm glad you brought it up. It's just the fact that, you know, over the course of time when Jim Schwartz was our defensive coordinator, there wasn't a lot of these quarterbacks didn't have to dive deep into their thought process to figure out what we were doing because it was too simplistic. I mean, you had guys in 29 as early as 2019. You know, I'll never forget it because it was just embarrassing that, you know, even from a defensive perspective on the opposing team, it was when the Eagles played the Seahawks in 2019, and I remember Bobby Wagner just flat out said that, you know, we knew exactly what their offense was doing, and it was just too easy for us. So, So and of course you look at it from the other side of the ball. That's what Jim Schwartz brought to the table in regards to the defensive line, how we're trying to add depth to that position, and the variety that we hope and we assume that Jonathan Gannon is going to bring to the table, to where he's going to make these quarterbacks think. He's going to force them in uncomfortable situations, and have them force throws that end up being the wrong read that could eventually be intercepted. So when you consider it from that perspective, there's going to be times where it doesn't matter who we have in coverage. Who we have in coverage from a cornerback spot, if the quarterback can't get his receivers the ball because the defensive line is just too much to deal with as far as pass protection.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys look at it this way too, is Jim Schwartz's defense favored wide receivers. All right, because listen, like I said, the corners were on an island. It was pretty much one-on-one all the time. All you had to do was get a stutter step, and we all knew our corners loved to take that fake. They always loved to do it. The double step always got them. And, dude, all it takes is that one hesitation, and it's over. And there was no one behind us to help. And that's why we always got killed. And why we never changed it, why we never did anything about it is beyond me. I guess he was just set in his ways, and he was stubborn and was like, no, my shit's going to work. I don't know, but you won't have that issue this time. You're going to have safeties over the top. You're going to have your corners not letting them get around as easy as what we did. When you're playing 5 to 7 yards off, man, you literally are giving them free roam to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, I mean, there was too many. We were a victim to too many games where we just dealt with watching a bend don't break defense, and
Yep.
Schwartz just, like I said, an over reliance on the defensive line. Like, oh, these guys are going to get home eventually. You're exhausting them out that way,
Yep.
especially if you don't have a rotation behind them that can keep these guys fresh with an adequate amount of substitutions. So I mean,
Yeah.
man, so
and to where Gannon's defense, man, I believe they're going to punch you in the mouth. They're going to play that way. So it's going to be a whole different style, I think.
yes, as long as we keep it to our own narrative that we're not biting off kneecaps like the Detroit Lions. So I'd rather take some heads off than bite kneecaps.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, guys like Big Play Slay and Jordy, since you two are still in here, I mean, are y'all on the same page in regards to what we're talking about from the defensive line? I know your opinion's a little bit different, Jordy, and I think you're on the and conveniently, since the way the screen is split right now, I think you're on Big Play Slay's side in regards to the priority of a corner, whereas it's the hope that we have a healthier defensive line that can actually get more consistent pressure on the quarterback. Because I don't want, again, and at the same time, I don't want people to blow this out of proportion. Yeah, last year we were third in sacks in the league. The defensive line was third in sacks, but what was our strength of competition from an offensive line standpoint? Like, who were our guys going up against on a weekly basis? I mean, these offensive lines that they were facing weren't very good. Let's just put that out there. So, and I think that's another thing that the front office put into consideration when you talk about a depth perspective. That these veterans aren't going to be around forever, and you want these young guys to come up into the fold. And even if you have to sign a guy like Kerrigan to keep some of your veterans fresh, then you're going to have to do what's necessary. So, I mean. Go ahead, Jordy. I'll leave you to the floor since.
Hey, before you guys answer that, let me give you a food for thought real quick. We won the Super Bowl in 2017 with Jalen Mills being our second corner. That's just food for thought, and that was with Jim Schwartz's defense. So
our legendary pair of Ronald Darby and Jalen Mills.
Yeah. So I mean, it can't get much worse than that, right? So Go ahead.
So the one problem I have with
Alright.
comparing 2017 to now is that roster stayed healthy. Our strength and conditioning and health department cannot keep players healthy.
That's
It's
so
been
true.
4 years where they haven't kept players healthy.
Yeah.
So I get those, and you go up against some good offensive lines where they're double teaming Cox. Brandon Graham's not having a great night, and Kerrigan's not exactly in the zone. Who do you have? And then at corner, you're going to have guys like Seymour in the second spot that are going to get roasted because anywhere else they're mostly would be depth guys not starting. And yes, you're probably going to have safety help now, but I think you're going to have to just push a lot of the safety help to the second CB spot, which leaves your other safety up top, and then you kind of get stuck in a one safety up high with somebody with one corner covering your one or in your one in your slot.
Yeah.
So either way, you've got a weakness somewhere, and it can be attacked, no matter what defense you're running. And I think we had enough on that defensive line where if they progressed enough and managed to somewhat stay healthy, we didn't need Kerrigan compared to our corners could get shredded all day against an air raid team, and we'd be done before the game even starts. So it is what it is. I still stick with what I've said for the past month now of this is going to be a bottom half of the league secondary, and it's going to be ugly this season.
Well, I think we also have to consider the fact that we have quite the array of a coaching staff here, and I feel Tracy Rocker is pretty capable of getting some talent out of these young guys, and sharing his expertise and his wisdom with even some of the veterans. It's a fresh connection, that I think is going to benefit these guys, and and then you talk about our defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon. He's known to get the best out of his secondary players and corners, like who he worked with for the Minnesota Vikings and who he had for the Indianapolis Colts, and and we've seen the reemergence with guys like Xavier Rhodes, and unfortunately for us, whether we wanted him or not this year, he resigned with Indy. Even if he was a free agent, I think he would have been a good pickup for us, but that's not the here nor there at this point. But so I mean. And it also transitions into another thought where you talk about this, and it's like Jock Talk just brought up. We're talking about the defensive line, and then we're talking about the secondary. Well, we're not really discussing about the in between. And he's saying I wonder how our linebackers are going to do. And then you bring up the idea that you have you have a lot of experimental guys, man, and we know Kerrigan. Kerrigan was known in that Washington D. Who is it? Patrick Johnson was playing a little bit of linebacker in college, and I think I don't think
Stevens.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go, Jacoby Stevens, and I don't think Teron Jackson did. I think Teron was mainly edge, and I think Teron was mainly edge and some D tackle, but I think they're going to give him a little bit of some of that at the linebacker, and then Jannard Avery's going back to being a linebacker where he was a little more productive. We talk about the secondary, but we also have to consider on where our linebacker core is right now, even outside of a guy like Eric Wilson, and I feel that linebacker is important as well, because they're the second line defense, and they kind of ease a little bit of the pressure on the secondary in some cases, and that's something that we have to ask ourselves: what potential do we have at linebacker anyway?
Man,
Yeah.
This is what I like to think, and this is the mindset I'm going into the season with. A lot of these kids on our team are young. A lot of them haven't even got paid yet. You know, they're still on their rookie deals. They're hungry. They want that money. They want to be paid. They want to be the best. You know, it's like I was saying the other day. You bring Jordan Hicks in. He's been here in the NFL for 8 years. He's had his ups. He's had his downs. But ultimately, he's got paid. He's got his, you know, second, third contract, whatever he's on. So the drive isn't there as much anymore. But we got a very young team. They're out to prove something. They want to. They realize, hey, all these positions on this team damn near are open. You know, especially for the future.
Absolutely.
Kelsey's gone after this year. God knows how long Fletcher's going to be around. God knows how long Brandon Graham's going to be around. All these jobs are open. It doesn't matter. So they're going to be out to
Maybe
prove
even
something. And I hate to reference this, but it's kind of like the New York Giant effect last year. You know, like you saw what they did. They fought, and they always played. And that's what you're going to get from us this year. Yeah, you might not see 11 wins. You might see 7 or 8. But, you know, we're going to have some ups. We're going to have some downs. But it's going to be fun to watch because these kids are going to fight till the end.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to head out, man. Lindy, talk to all of you guys later. See you, gentlemen.
Appreciate you coming in as always. Every time, Big Play Slay, man. You're killing it with your contribution to a lot of content creators, man. You know, I've seen you in streams with Moochie and Pablo, and you know, y'all hanging out with LB and Philly 500 and guys like that. So, man. Big thanks to you as always, man. One of the greater supporters of a lot of guys in the Eagles content community, and appreciate you coming to hang out on a Monday. So, man, take care, buddy.
Yep. See you, Jordy and Lindy.
Catch you next time. Yes, sir.
See you, Slay.
Yes, sir. I think AK Eagle must be messing up with something. Yeah, he's cutting in and out, man. Something going on. All right, there we go. Fix that back up.
That was weird. That was so weird.
Jock Talk, yeah, man. Like I said, I thought I had about 2 hours left in me, man. I can take this to 10 if I want, man. I'm just chilling. I'm chilling on a Monday, you know, talking with my people in the community, getting some of the subs, and we doing these call-ins, man. It's I gotta get use out of my StreamYard subscription. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and definitely. Shout out to you, man. You holding down the fort in the chat with, you know, we getting double the amount of engagement here. I'm looking at the chat. I'm talking to y'all in the call in here, but yeah, I guess we can, so I guess we can try and keep this going here. So I was talking about, and Jordy may have seen this in the Discord, but I was talking about the idea that I heard that, you know, some people were talking about, and I may be repeating myself at this point, but yeah, you know, moving Trevon Grimes to tight end, and you know, people feel that he may benefit moving to tight end, you know, to take advantage of a group of guys that there's more question marks at tight end than there is at wide receiver. And, you know, the competition at tight end may be a little easier for him than it would be at the receiver spot. I don't see it. I mean, does it make sense at any point in time for him to move to tight end? Because I don't. Excuse me. I should have muted myself there. Whichever one of y'all want to go on that one. Uh-oh.
I don't necessarily think he should move to tight end. I don't. We've already got so much there in Tyree Jackson, Caleb Wilson, and Hakeem Butler, and 2 of those 3 are projects of just moving to tight end, and the other one's a guy that's hasn't really seen much field, if at all. And then Kroom is also on the roster, if I'm not mistaken, and he actually saw some field, but I'd rather take guys that have at least somewhat had a chance to see field than someone you don't know what they're going to do at that position, especially with someone like Hakeem and Tyree already there.
Yeah, Jock Talk brings up Jack the Mullet Stoll, but you know what? He actually Jack Stoll actually chopped his mullet, so he doesn't have it anymore. So there's no mullet man on the roster outside of Jason Kelsey, I think. So yeah, the mullet's gone from Jack, but yeah, I mean Jack seems to be the favorite at this point. You know, if Ertz isn't on the team, that he could move up. He could move up to being the number 2. But I don't know if I see it as an undrafted free agent. I know he's got. I know there's potential involved. I know there's potential involved in that regard to him, but it's just I don't know. I don't see it. So Jock Talk like, no. Yeah, he chopped the mullet. The mullet's gone. I seen him at there's footage of him in the background at a rookie camp, I think. Yeah, the mullet's not there no more. If I seen his hair correctly, yeah, I think the mullet's gone. But yeah, we got guys like Caleb Wilson and Jason Kroom and Tyree Jackson, a converted quarterback to tight end, and Hakeem Butler. Hakeem Butler was in the same situation at one point. And it's like, yeah, there's the Kelvin Benjamin comparison there, but I don't know. I don't know how it's benefit. I don't know how it would be beneficial for Trevon Grimes to move to tight end, especially when you consider the idea of a guy like Brian Johnson wanting him to come into Philly, and compete for a spot in the wide receiver room. If like I said earlier, if Brian felt that the group of receivers were better at this point in time, and if he felt that there wasn't as good of a chance for Trevon Grimes to make an impact, whether it's further up the depth chart or on the edge of the practice squad, then I don't think we see Grimes here in the first place. So I feel it would be better at this point for him to compete with these other ex receivers, being that they're at low points right now. Like, Arcega-Whiteside's not a fan favorite right now. Travis Fulgham's not a lock. Jamon Osborne is another undrafted free agent. That's an X type of receiver. Guys like that. So yeah, it would make more sense for Grimes to stay at the wide receiver position and try and work his way up the chart in regards to competition.
Yeah, I'm not a favorite of him going to tight end.
I don't see. I get where people are coming from, because he has an early he has like an early prototypical build that he can convert to tight end because of him being like 6'3", 6'4", close to 220, and if he bulks up, he could be a decent sized tight end. And it's like, yeah, and people bring up the comparison of Trey Burton and that. I think Trey was only 6'2", 6'3". No, this isn't the same scenario here. So I don't see it.
No, I mean, if anything, man, I'm in favor to bring Richard Rodgers back. I thought he did pretty decent for us last year. Yeah, he'd be a nice number 2 behind Dallas Goedert. Oh
yeah, he definitely would. So I mean, we're still on the talk of wide receivers here. So Jock is keeping us going as well, man, with these with conversations, which is appreciate.
Oh, that's an easy question, man.
So he says, how many are we going to keep?
Yeah. No, that's Smith, Rager, Travis, Hightower, Watkins, and Grimes.
So that's how many? That's 6 or 7.
Smith. I
think it's going to be. I think the max would be 6.
Hightower, Watkins, Grimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna. I don't even think we're gonna keep a whole lot. How many?
The only 2 I say don't make it is JJ and Ward.
JJ and Greg Ward. Yeah.
Yeah.
how many? Because I did a early depth chart debate episode. That was my first one on wide receivers, and I'm trying to remember who I kept. Trying to remember the amount of receivers that I kept. I think it was 5 or 6. I can't remember, but I actually, and this is where I differ. I actually kept Greg Ward. I actually kept him because
I can understand it.
in regards to Greg, I get it. There's no explosiveness to him, and I understand that, but he offers something that a lot, if not all, the wide receivers don't. And of course this is based on skill set. And, you can arguably say Devontae Smith is in the same category as a rookie, but with Greg Ward being a former quarterback, he has an understanding of coverage, and where his playmakers need to be as far as sitting in zones or running his route correctly, and being in a position where his quarterback can see him. That kind of knowledge, a lot of these receivers don't have, just because of the fact that they naturally didn't play the quarterback position. And at the same time, and I just said that Greg Ward's not exactly explosive, but he offers and I don't know if this offers any kind of value, because to some teams speed is everything, but Greg offers, with how he plays the receiver spot, he offers a change of pace. Especially like if you got situations where you have Rager and Devontae Smith on the outside, and then you throw Greg Ward in the slot for whatever play you're trying to run, and the defense is accounting for that threat of speed on the outside, and they run whatever route that they're schemed to, and then you got Greg Ward sitting underneath in a soft zone. He's gonna know where he has to be at that given point in time, and he's one of the more dependable receivers on the roster to begin with. So, I
get it, man. I get it. I call him Mr. Reliable because I can't think of a time or any time at all, really, where he's failed. When you throw him the ball, he catches it. Like, I got to give him that. So, no, I understand it would be hard to cut him. Like, it really would be, even to just put him on the practice squad. It's just, I feel there's way too much young talent here right now, man. And he is the veteran. I mean, I'm pretty sure he is the oldest one, right? Out of all of them.
He's the oldest one at 26.
Yeah.
He's the oldest receiver at 26.
He's technically the veteran, Yeah, he's technically the veteran of this group, but when it comes to skill sets and athleticism and just all around attributes, man, like everyone else is ahead of him when it comes to that. Like, yeah, he has the hand. So I'll never take that away from him, but when it comes to that last minute catch, that you need, or play that will set everything apart, is he that guy?
Yeah, definitely. Jordy, are you I guess Jordy had complications as well, so are you back with us now?
Yeah, I'm good.
No, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But
for some reason the internet was having a problem, but I'm all good.
I'm hoping it's not my connection, because I know.
So
I know
at these receivers, honestly.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, are we lagging out for you?
I don't.
Right,
I don't know. I'm hoping it's not my connection, because I don't see a scenario where usually StreamYard will tell me if my connection's unstable. And I know when I was in the live stream with Philly Foothills, I felt like I was lagging a bit, because sometimes sometimes it works like when you're gaming and it depends on the host's connection. So I'm hoping that's not the case because I'm direct connected right now. But yeah, so go ahead.
So honestly, I'd cut Khalil Tate and then stash Grimes and Osbon on practice squad, and then you have pretty much the same lineup you had last year besides Smith rolling up. And then you can try to continue to develop Fulgham and put Smith into kind of a front and center role. And then you can have some decent guys backing up. And as much as I wanted to say put John Hightower on the practice squad, I didn't. So there's that. But there's not much to it. I don't think we need two former quarterbacks, so that's really why I just said cut Khalil Tate and not put him on the practice squad. And I'm keeping J-Jaw because I think he needs one more chance to hit the field and get some catches.
Ooh, quite a hot take of the Eagles fan base there with keeping Arcega-Whiteside on the roster.
I'm gonna say what I said 3 hours ago. You didn't keep Matt Collins, you can't keep JJ Arcega-Whiteside. I'm sorry. You can't do it. Matt Collins has more yards than fucking J-Jaw. And they got rid of him. You can't keep him. I'm sorry. You got rid of Matt Collins. You have to get rid of him. It's just, I'm sorry. He doesn't get a chance. He hasn't done as much. How many yards does he have altogether? Like 84? It's not even a lot. I don't even think he broke 100. You can't keep that, man.
So it looks like Jock Talk has his 5 here. He's saying Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor, obviously, you're not dropping first-round picks. That's just stupid. He has Travis Fulgham making it, Quez and Hightower. So, I mean, that's also a realistic possibility as well. And this is also considered the fact that some of these guys can even sit on the practice squad. So that would mean a guy like Greg Ward taking a demotion and him being dropped on the practice squad, and then in cases where he would have to come up on certain scenarios where if a guy like Hightower isn't working out at the moment, or he's going through an injury issue, or if Quez has one, or if anybody's not maintaining their status on the field in good health, Greg can be that guy to be a nice plug and play piece in the offense. But he also goes, oh bleep, I forgot about Grimes. So yeah, I mean, again, it's all going to come down to. It's also going to come down to the fact that you just talked about whether they're going to raise the the limit to the final the final roster count. Some of us are hearing 55, and then others are hearing 60. It's all going to depend on that as well. But I feel that 6 to 7 receivers would be an okay number maybe, but I don't know if it's going to be that many. I would think the safer bet would be 5, because it's just all going to depend on what Sirianni wants from an offensive perspective, like how much of a feature our receivers are going to be, how much of a feature is the running back going to be, tight end, et cetera, et cetera. What kind of comps, what is his scheme revolved around, the kind of concepts and, stuff like that. But like who's going to be the biggest priority, that sort of thing. So
you have to add in Gainwell into the wide receiver position, man, because I have a feeling Gainwell is going to be playing a lot of slot as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you definitely could, and it's funny because we still see Kenny Gainwell right now as a 5th round pick, but if he played last year, we may not have picked him in the 5th.
Right.
especially if he replicates the performance, the production that he had in 2019, we may not have been able to get him. And as we know, Memphis is a pretty good powerhouse when it comes to their running backs, and Dallas has a pretty good one in Tony Pollard and Darrell Henderson and somebody else that's leaving my mind, who's also in the NFL. It's pretty good. So, yeah, he also brings up how many cheerleaders will there be? Man, I don't know, but
No, real quick, I do have a question for you on the cornerback thing. You know how we were talking earlier about how of a concern CB2 is? Would we all, and Jordy, I want your honest opinion too, would we be as concerned if we would have drafted Gowan?
Tay Gowan?
Yeah. Would we have been more concerned as at CB2 if we would have taken Gowan over McPherson?
I don't think so.
Feel the same?
I don't think so, but I think you have to consider in the back of your mind how far along are these players going to be in their development process. I mean, it's and the same goes for Zach McPherson. I mean, he's not even there's not even a consensus to where that he's looked at as an outside corner in the first place. So I think it would come down to on how well these players develop in the system, and how a guy like Jonathan Gannon can connect to some of the guys in the secondary, because it's there's people that are putting Gannon in high regard right now as opposed to being able to develop corners, and that's been one of, if not the biggest issue for this organization is in-house player development. We haven't been able to do it, so that's gonna have to be the change moving forward. So go ahead, Jordy.
Now, I agree with you that him and McPherson's spot, I don't necessarily see as being a difference, but I say if you consider how far Gowan fell, and you say he was picked in, like, we traded up back into the 6th to get him, or got him in the spot of one of our picks, I think we'd be in a better situation. Or if if we drafted somebody else like Mukuamu, the corner out of South Carolina, the 6'4" corner, who got drafted 227th in the 6th. I kind of wish he would have gotten picked by Philly, because that would have made a big difference. That way you've got height on the outside again.
Well, and I think that was the reason for I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name again, but you know who I mean, that 6'4" guy we got. I think that was the reason for us signing him.
Yeah, Obi,
yeah, just to give us that little bit of height,
Yeah, he's a former second round pick in his own right. I think it was the Raiders that took him, and there's kind of a fallout there, and I think Gate City put it well the most. That 5-hour long call in that you were in, AK. Y'all kicked ass in that. I didn't expect Gate to go that long, but he put it pretty well. He was saying that this could be a case where you have a kid that that kind of falls out in an organization, and then he goes somewhere and he gets a fresh start, and it's kind of you hit the reset button on your brain, and it's like you're working towards something new, and it could be that scenario for him moving forward. So and Jock.
Well, I mean, we all seen what Xavier Rhodes or what Gannon did for Xavier Rhodes, so maybe he can do it for him.
Yeah. Jock talking about yes, and he wanted Obi in 2017. Yeah, so well, fellas, we reached almost the 2.5-hour mark in this stream here. It seems that it's kind of dying down for a little bit. I don't know what other topics we want to hit on. There's only so much we can talk about in such a slow off season right now for the Eagles until they decide to make another move. We touched on the Ryan Kerrigan signing first thing, because that was one of the biggest talks, especially today. Going over some of the some of the topics of the rookie mini camp that just happened. We went over some of that. What we thought about these rumored trade scenarios. I'm not even going to bring up the idea of Deshaun Watson because there's no way in hell I'm not going. There's no way in hell I'm entertaining that idea right now. But talking about that and Jock Talk saying
real quick, dude. I got a funny story I got a funny story of that Kerrigan thing. So I'm sitting there on Twitter this morning, right? This dude was like, he comes on, and he's like, yeah, so the free agents that Eagles signed. And I'm reading through, and I saw Ryan Kerrigan's name on that list. And I stopped, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, Ryan Kerrigan's not on this list. I was like, we didn't sign Ryan Kerrigan. When the hell did that happen? And no lie, right after I said that, ding, it pops up, and it says that we signed him. I was like, oh, shit. Like, so there was people out there that knew before we even knew, and it was crazy because my brother looked at me. He got home from the Dover race, and I looked at him. I said, hey, I said, so did you hear? And he looked at me. He's like, screw you. Like, he's really mad that Washington actually let him go. So, if Washington fans hate it, it's good. I mean, he might not have been a starter, but, dude, he's been on that defense for 10 years, and he's been a wrecking ball for him. He's not washed up. He's not. It's just when you have Chase Young and Montez Sweat, you're going to take a back seat to them because they're ultimate superstars. I mean, I think we all can agree to that. Even though they're not on our team, they're a nightmare to go against. But Kerrigan's a nightmare in his own right.
Yeah, even like we said earlier, even with that youth movement with the Washington football team, trying to euthanize their regime and everything on the D line, you still have you still got a guy in Ryan Kerrigan that was he was still productive on the limited snaps that he got. I mean, you can. I don't know. You can't speculate based on snap percentage on what his sack numbers would have been. Like, all we know is that he played under 40% of the snaps and still got 5.5 sacks. That's what we know. That's what we can work off of. And it was almost the same case for 2019. But and again, I don't know if there's a negative to this signing. Yeah, people are still irritated to the fact, and Jordy's one of them, and there's still people irritated to the fact that we don't have a definitive CB2 at that position. Slay is still in search of a partner on the other side of the field there. For coverage, especially the wide receiving cores that we have to go up against this year in Kansas City and Tampa Bay. The Panthers have a pretty good one. Washington football team's core has gotten better. The Giants have gotten better. We still have to deal with Dallas. There's a lot of talent that we have to go up against. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is predicated on the pass rush and the pass rush staying healthy. If you can get to the quarterback within, and obviously this isn't possible for a lot of cases. If you can get to the quarterback in under 2 seconds, then you're looking pretty good. Of course, that's not always the case unless you send a blitz and somebody goes in uncovered. But it goes. That's how teams work. And that's been a philosophy for the longest time for the Eagles. They like to build from the trenches out, and that's just something that we have to continue to remind ourselves is that's how they work. That's their philosophy, and this is what they're going to go with moving forward.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, if you look at it, that's how football was invented back in the day. Football is won in the trenches. You ask any head coach that, they'll tell you that. It really, truly is. So, I mean, we're going about it the smart way. It might not always seem that way. It might not always even feel that way. But, in the end, we do go about it the smart way. It just feels like we take so many different paths to get to where we need to be. And sometimes it's so far left or so far right, you just don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, gentlemen, we got any closing thoughts that we want to get out, and until we until the coming days come to pass, and we got and we got any sort of new news for Philly.
Um, I just hope everything goes okay, man. No one gets injured. Everyone stays healthy. Everybody learns Nick's system, gets it down, and we can go out there and surprise the world this year. I mean, that's wishful thinking, but you know, yeah. And I agree with him. Washington needs to figure that shit out. They need to get a name already.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's and I don't want and I guess I'll close on the thought, when you talk about us surprising people, that I don't want I don't want us to undervalue ourselves.
No, hope for the best and expect the worst.
Roses are red. Roses are red. Violets are blue. F Dallas too. That's right. I'm not going to say that until the season starts, because I'm still thanking them for allowing us to get Devontae Smith, but that's not the here nor there. So, but either way, I mean, again, I want to make sure that we don't undervalue ourselves. Yeah, there's not a lot of expectation here, and in people's eyes, our team may not have improved, but I'm still sticking with my way early record prediction. I'm still sticking with it. I have the over under set to 8 games. I think it's very possible that we may stay under, and I think it's very possible that we may stay older. My worst case scenario would be 7-10, and my best case scenario would be us winning 11 games. It is a stretch, but it's not impossible. So that's where I'm at from that perspective, and I guess I'll close out on that thought. Jordy, if you got anything quick to get off your mind and close the stream for the night, you may do so.
No, I got nothing. I've already kind of covered what I was planning on covering today.
Cool. So yeah, man, I guess 2.5 hours in, that'll do it for me on a Monday. Being, like I said at the start of the stream, I kind of missed a lot, that I wasn't able to cover things one by one. I was out of town. My sister had a baby shower. I wanted to be there for first time uncle for me. It's crazy.
Congrats,
thing, but yeah, man, my youngest sister being a mother, man, it's nuts. So yeah, I had to be there for her. Got time to spend with the family and everything, because we need that outside of the YouTube world. And yeah, we trying to balance our lives in any way we can. And sometimes I feel that. Sometimes I feel my work schedule, kind of goes against me, because I want to get the content out, but I'm working 10 hours a day, and then I don't get home until 6, Eastern time. So it's like, I only got so much to grind, before I can't be exhausted for the next day. It is what it is. But yeah, so talk going, guys. I had a great night, and yeah, appreciate it, man. You stuck around. You stuck around for the whole stream, man. Big ups to you. New person to my channel. Stayed here for the entire 2.5 hours. It's quite an awesome feeling. Quite an awesome feeling for me. I'm not gonna lie. The interaction was fantastic in the beginning, man. No doubt. And of course,
man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on, dude. For real, it's always a joy being on with you and talking sports. And for all you guys out there, subscribe to my guy here. He drops fire content all the time. Speaks from the heart. He's true. Love him to death. Brings it every time. So, just show some love. That's all I ask. He deserves it. He puts his work in. So.
Man, you know what? I'll tell you what. I got to humble here, because there's too many cases where I don't know how to take these kinds of compliments.
Dude, we take care of our own, man. We take care of our own. You know that. Bird gang, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's just how I am, man. Yeah, see, Jock Talk talking about that. He's in Cali, man. Shout out to you, man. The Nest Out West is out there. Philly Foothills, another good content creator. Y'all got sub to him. I had a recent collab with him. You know, we did pretty damn good for a 2-hour stream. He got to know me a little bit, and my fandom, my history, my fandom, and that's an awesome stream. It's a little bit older, but I suggest y'all check that out. We had a good conversation over there, and yeah, shout out to you, Jock, a new subscriber. That's awesome, man. You know what? I gotta check my subscriber count because I think I may have hit. I think I may have hit 80. I'm not gonna lie. So, man, this is it's getting crazy. So yeah, I don't know. Let me see.
I'll be on with Mitch and Philly
Yeah,
on Sunday at 4, man. I don't know if you'll be around or not, but
yeah. So
they invited me to get on and talk with them on Sunday, so that'll be cool.
I actually didn't hit 80. That was premeditated. So it still says I'm at 78. So I have to assume I lost a subscriber, but
I'll go make 2 accounts and subscribe real quick for you.
Oh man. Yeah, no.
We'll get you to 80, bro. We'll get you there.
Yeah,
that's right though. Eagles family sticks together. We all bleed green. We know this, but yeah. Before I continue to ramble on, man, I guess I'll close this out here because I can go for I could go for another 2 hours, but man, I can't go into work on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. I can't do it. So
this is my only night off this week, man. So I'm enjoying it.
Damn. Yeah. No, I work 4 days a week. So Fridays for me are an extra day now for me to put content out. Which speaking of, I guess I'll give a quick update since y'all two are in here. I'm supposed to be in a stream on Friday with Birdman 951. He invited me for a Q&A, so I'm supposed to be over there on Friday, and then on Sunday, I'm supposed to be in a stream with the Philly Sports Podcast and Mitch Kofsky. They invited me to do some.
Oh, I'm on there too, so I'll see you as well. They invited me too.
Yeah, so good deal, man. We're still sticking together.
Hey, I got you, homie. I got you.
See, it's just more influence on your part to start a channel. There you go. See, you got people wanting to go on. People wanting to go on your channel. So,
dude, I got 3 subscribers and I haven't even dropped a video yet. I'm so blessed.
That's a sign. That's all I can say. There's your sign. There you go. Man. All right. So, that's it. I guess that'll do it for me for today, man. I got the rest of the week to drop some content. I got to talk about my Dallas Mavericks. The playoffs are going to be around the corner. The play-in is going to be happening. The Lakers got to deal with Golden State, and man, we got the LA Clippers again. So, man, I gotta go through some basketball talk. You guys will probably see some of that along with the Eagles content. But I guess
just to let you know, I'm still working on that interview for you for Carlisle through my cousin. So I'll get you up to date on that as soon as I know more.
Oh, damn, that'd be pretty damn cool, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
It'll probably have to be till after basketball, because he's probably busy right now. Yeah. But yeah, dude, as soon as it's over, I'll hit up my cousin here and see what she can do for you.
Yeah.
Because when the wife speaks, you got to kind of step to it a little bit. So, luckily, like I told you, my wife is married, or my wife's cousin is married to him. So, I'm going to try and do everything I can to get you an interview with him.
And shoot, that'd be huge, dude. But man, no biggie. I'd have to know why he didn't. I'd have to know why he didn't put Porzingis on a minutes restriction. Man, he'd miss too many games in between. Like he'd miss like 5 games, and then he comes back and he's he's playing starters minutes. He puts him at 33 minutes. Like, come on, man. If you want him on the court a little more consistently, just put him on a minutes restriction. Luka's fine for the most part because the rest of the squad's got to play a little better. But whatever, it is what it is. But so I'm not rambling on anymore, and I don't get in my feelings about my Mavs because I don't know about the playoffs because we got to play the Clippers again. That's going to do it for this stream on a Monday mashup. Getting the content in, with some of my subscribers, bringing this into a call in, about an hour in, we're, chalking it up like Tonda Shields always says, man. Shout out to him using a bit of his slogan there. So that's going to do it. That's going to do it for me, Lindy Endzone, Jordy. Always a pleasure, man. AK Eagle, take care. I'll see you on Sunday or whenever I decide to do another stream, or I'll hang out with you guys, dropping some comments or whatever. I'm always well engaged with those that connect to my videos or whatever. So man, thank you guys again. Thank you to all the viewers that came in. I was peaked at 8 viewers at once. That's a first for me on my channel, and shout out to Jock Talk, man, being a first time subscriber and staying
Have a good one, Jock.
for almost 2 hours, man. I appreciate y'all. That's gonna do it for me. Y'all take care on this Monday. I'll catch all guys next time. Bleed green, fly Eagles, fly, and look out for one another. Take care, everybody.